Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Mystery Sports Podcast. Just obviously, the Premier League is back after the international break, so should be a good weekend of football once again. Obviously, we do have quite a few huge games this week. Sorry, don't fall, don't fall. There we go. So we obviously do have quite a few big games this weekend, especially obviously the Manchester Derby, huge game for this week, probably the standout fixture, well, the standout fixture of the week. Obviously, I mean, we do have other games that we can look forward to. So let's get into it. We'll do a bit of a Premier League preview first, then we'll get into the Manchester Derby after. Obviously, we first game tomorrow at 12:30 kickoff is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Ange Postecoglou's first game back. And I think it's going to be an Ange Postecoglou joking. I don't think Ange Postecoglou is going to win. I think it will be a 2-1 victory to Arsenal. I think Forest will look dangerous, but then I think Arsenal will just take that kind of control and just go and dominate and win the game 2-1. I think Arsenal will be missing chances, and I think that they could possibly score more than what they do. And then you go more to the 3 o'clock kickoff games. You've got Brighton versus Bournemouth, bit of a South Coast derby. I think that um, with this game, it's one of those games where I'm like, it could end up as a draw, or it could end up as like one of them winning. I think it's got a 2-2 written all over it. I think it's going to end up in a draw. Be a good game to watch though. Then you've got Newcastle versus Wolves. I think Newcastle win. I can only see that 3-1 win to Newcastle. Everton versus Villa. I think Villa need a win. I think they. I think even then, I think it's going to be a draw again. I think that'll be a 0-0 there. No, not 0-0. That's a bit harsh. It, I think it'd probably be about a 2-1. Oh, no, it's a tough game that one. I wrote down 2-1 to Villa, but I don't think it's going to be 2-1 to Villa. I think it'll be a 2-2 again. Another 2-2 draw. Entertaining game. I think Grealish obviously playing against his former club, Boyle's club. And then you've got Palace versus Sunderland. I mean, Sunderland have looked very good this season, so it could be another Sunderland win, another big upset. But I think Palace will have too much for him, and I think it will be a Palace win, and I've put down 2-1 for Palace. Fulham versus Leeds, I think that'll be a 1-1 draw. It's always, I think Leeds are a decent side. I think they will stay up, and I think Fulham just don't have that kind of attacking threat to go and try and win that game or comfortably win that game. Then the 5:30 kickoff tomorrow, see a London derby, West Ham versus Tottenham. I think it'll be a Tottenham win, 3-1 Tottenham. Thomas Frank probably will have the Spurs boys all readied up for that game, and I think that they'll go and probably destroy West Ham, really. I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. I think Richarlison will get a double, and I think Brennan Johnson, he always seems to score against West Ham, and in those big games that Tottenham do play. Then tomorrow night as well, you've got an 8 o'clock kickoff game, and that's another London derby, and that's Brentford versus Chelsea. I've put a challenge for Chelsea to win 4-0, but I think obviously if Brentford are losing Wizza in the transfer window and Mbeumo, I just don't see them scoring, and I think they do really struggle this year. And I can see Chelsea just going riot there and going winning 4-0. Obviously coming on to Sunday, only just the 2 o'clock kickoff. You've got Burnley versus Liverpool. I think Burnley will do an absolute masterclass and draw 1-1. No, in more seriously, I do think it's going to be a 3-0 win to Liverpool. Kike and Salah to get on the score sheet, and possibly Isak if he does play. If Isak doesn't play, then I think it'll be a goal from like Szoboszlai or McAllister or something like that. Then obviously the big one, the Manchester Derby. That just moves us swiftly on to the next section. My heart's telling me that United are going to win 2-1, but my head thinks it's going to be a draw. And the only reason why I think it's going to be a draw is that both teams aren't looking too pretty in the table. The form, United have got slightly better form because they've not lost 2 games. However, I do think that I think I want United to win obviously 2-1, but I do think it's going to be a draw 2-2. Haaland probably getting a double, and probably Mbeumo and probably a Bruno goal because Bruno seems to score all the time against City. I think It's gonna be if it does go for a 2-1 United win, I think it's gonna be a really hard game for both teams. It's gonna be good low quality like last year, and it's gonna be won by individuals. So, like, Ahmad obviously won it last year with that brilliant quality for obviously for the penalty and for obviously his goal at the end, which was spectacular. But if it's gonna be that 2-2 draw, I do think it's gonna be that kind of same feeling. I think that it's just gonna be low quality. City are gonna go 1-0 up. United will get back into it, and then City will score late on or something on the lines of that. But I think this Manchester derby it's not as easy to predict as people might be saying. Like, I know a few friends of mine have been saying, "Oh, yeah, City are gonna walk all over United." Yeah, that could definitely happen, but I don't think that will happen. I think it's gonna be a very close game, and possibly United could do an upset like they did last year, but then City could also destroy United. You never know what will happen. Obviously, City coming off the back of another loss against Brighton. See, Pep would want the bounce to be obviously straight away there against United, and obviously go and win the game comfortably. But then obviously Ruben Amorim on his side, he'd be like, "Look, we got a lucky win against Burnley, which we should have won by more. Now let's go and beat Man City and go and start this kind of momentum that we need to build, and go and beat Chelsea, and then go and beat the other games that we do have. And obviously soon is Liverpool, and obviously that'll be a huge, huge game, especially for the title race and for United season in particular. Think obviously saying it's 2-1 to United, that's what I'm probably gonna go for, yeah, 2-1 to United. Just to move on to the United team, that Ruben Amorim, I think he should start. Obviously, everyone we know that not Bruno, sorry, Altay Binder is gonna play, as Ruben Amorim said in his press conference today that Altay will start. I think, to be fair, I would have probably gone with Lemons, but I think because I think this is a very tough game to just chuck a young goalkeeper in. I know people will be like, "Oh, yeah, City are probably just gonna chuck Donnarumma in there," but I think Donnarumma is a different class of goalkeeper. Donnarumma's been there at the biggest stages since he was, like, 18, so it's a completely different he's at the top of his game pretty much, whereas Lemon's just getting there, so we'll see what happens there. But obviously, Bayern are in net. Then the back three, we stick with Shaw, De Ligt, Yoro. I think solid back three does its job. De Ligt there with the aggression. Shaw obviously left-footed, and Yoro just Yoro class on the ball, world class defender. Wing backs, I'd go with Ahmad and Dogu. I think Dogu needs to start obviously with Mazraoui not being 100% fit, and obviously Dalot out for the next few weeks. Obviously, it just makes sense to obviously play him left wing back, and then Ahmad on the right wing back. I think Mazraoui's just not got that attacking capability that Ahmad does or Dalot has. So I do think that Ahmad would be the better choice for the right wing back there. No, I think this is the interesting bit here now. What I've gone for is the midfield. Obviously, with Cunha and Mount out for the next few game weeks, I think Ruben Amorim must go with Casemiro Mainu for this game in particular. I just think Casemiro, you've got the experience there, and Mainu's just that quality there. Everyone knows how good Kobe Mainu is, and I don't know why he doesn't start. If you start Manuel Agate, don't get me wrong, it should give that like fight in there. However, I do think Mainu's just the quality on the ball that you need to try and hold on, like to try and get a lead, and then you can bring Agate on and just to hold that lead there and play well defensively. So I would start Mainu, and then obviously Casemiro Mainu in the midfield. Where does that put Bruno? I think obviously Cunha's out, Mount's out, and a lot of people might disagree with me, but I think your two cams or your front three should be Xerxes, Bruno, and then Mbeumo. So you play Xerxes and Bruno as your two tens, and then Mbeumo as your number 9. A lot of people might be saying, "Where have you put Shesko?" I think so it's a good question. Why isn't Shesko starting, or why isn't he having a look in with the team? I was considering it, but I do think that the way that Xerxes played against Burnley and the way he has turned his United career around in the past couple of months, I think he deserves that start there, and I think he does offer something. I think Ruben Amorim does love that kind of um, quality on the ball that he does possess, and I think Xerxes Bruno as your two tens. I think you've got the quality there. Obviously, you've got the quality of Bruno. Xerxes can run with the ball, and you feeding in Mbeumo. Mbeumo, everyone knows how good Mbeumo is. No one can argue with his stats. So I think that's the perfect 11 I'd go for. Well, not the perfect 11, but with the players that we've got available, I think that's what we should go for. I wouldn't be surprised if he did start Agate over Mainu. However, I do believe that Mainu just gives that quality there on the ball at the start of the game. And then if we are in a position where it is a 2-0, not 2, well, 2-0, 2-1 United are winning, you stick Agate on Firmino and you just have someone there a bit more defensively mind minded to obviously control the game kind of, or try and break down those City kind of plays and phases. I think obviously with Cunha and Mount out, it is obviously annoying for United, especially because we look how good Cunha has been. Like, I know obviously he hasn't scored or assisted, but the amount of chances he's had, the amount of chances he's created for United, I think there's obviously a lot to look forward to for United. Obviously, he is out for the next couple of weeks. Well, we think weeks. Ruben Amorim hasn't really told the media if they're going to be out for however a month or week or however many days it may be. So we'll see what happens there. I think with United, well, City, I think City need to start well in this game. They need to prove something. I think City do have the quality to obviously go and batter anyone, and I think they could easily go and batter United 5-0 if they all turn up. I just think they've got to be careful though, just on the counter attack. I think with United and the pace that they've got with Dogu, Bruno, Ahmad, and Buemo, and even Xerxes. I know he's a bit slow, but Xerxes does get involved in those attacks. United could um, punish them through that way, that hit on the break or something. But I think it'll be a very interesting game. Should be. I can't see it being very high quality just because of how poor both sides have started the season. I think there will obviously it will be won by individuals and individuals who produce that quality to their highest standard. So Ahmad, for example, Bruno or not Marmoush, Haaland or Rodri or Foden if he does play. So obviously it's a great game to look ahead. Hopefully United get the win, but I can also see a City win or a draw. So I know I've just said everything on their draw, win, loss for United, or all the way around for City. I think that it it's just one of those games where it's like you can lean towards United, you can lean towards City, but there's a high chance that it could end in a draw. And obviously, I'm going to say United win. I'm a United fan, but then if I'm looking at it as a neutral perspective, I think it's going to be a draw. But there's also that thing there where you're like, City can just turn up and absolutely play United off the park and batter us. So anything could happen. Let's look forward to it. Hopefully, nothing bad happens on a United's perspective, and we'll see obviously what happens with the other games as well. Because if you say United do go and win this game, City could be ending up in 15th position, and obviously not a great start for them after 4 games. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, United win. You never know. See, just now, WSL, just obviously their second game week there. I think the WSL this season obviously did a bit of a weekend review on there. They've had I mean, it's had a good start from United, good start from Chelsea. City need a bounce back playing Brighton. Think they will get that bounce back bounce back today. They kick off at 7:30, same as West Ham and Arsenal. I think Arsenal go and win that game as well against West Ham. And then obviously you've got games on Sunday. So Villa versus Chelsea. I can't see anything but a Chelsea win again. United versus London City. Obviously Katie Zellin playing against her former club Manchester United. And I think that will be United win. 4-0 United win again. Obviously great start for United if that does happen. Leicester versus Liverpool. I think that'll be a tough game, but I do think Liverpool will get the win there. Everton, and then the last game of the weekend would be Everton versus Tottenham, and I think that game's got quite a lot of rest on it. Obviously, Tottenham are a decent side, and Everton obviously coming back off a 4-1 win in the Merseyside derby. So I think it could be a draw that game. I think both decent quality sides, and yeah, a draw. I think 2-2 for that maybe, or even like 1-1 possibly. Yeah, but definitely a draw for that game. But yeah, obviously that is all the main sports really. Obviously there is a bit of the PGA Tour on this weekend, bit of cricket is on as well. But yeah, apart from that, hope you have a good weekend and let's hope United win. See you on a bit.